Welcome to Already Won.
Even if you're 80% in, but you do that consistently over time, that's going to yield you much better results.
Hello and welcome, guys, to Already Won, a Sports Friends podcast. I'm your host, Ben Wildman, aka The Wildcat, here with the maddest of dogs, Kyle Apps, the super chef, and many other titles. Kyle, you love your nutrition, you love your food. Are you excited for today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had Jacob on before. Jacob Mertens was formerly with the Houston Texans. Now he's out on his own doing Empower Performance. You'll see it on the bottom of the screen later. But yeah, it's great. Here he is coming back, a repeat offender. Guest.
Yeah, well, I loved his first episode. He's talking about loads of different things, how he helps elite athletes and stuff. But I think maybe today he'll give advice for all of us, right? For whoever we are, some great advice and practical tools for the world of nutrition. And it's a bit of an interesting world, what you see online, and it's a bit of a confusing place. So we need an expert in, right, Mad Dog? We're going to get him in. So tell us a little bit more about Jacob then. Tell us about our guest today.
So Jacob is a great guy currently in Houston, but he's got maybe some news he'll share. But he's a wellness, fitness, lifestyle coach, a decade of experience helping individuals, athletes, optimizing their performance, health, well-being. With the Texans, he worked with all the different athletes, whether you're a cornerback, a lineman, a running back, whatever, just balancing their giving them advice on health, nutrition, and performance, and then recovery as well. He's also worked with the IMG Academy, Nebraska Basketball, the Iowa Cubs, other various collegiate programs, and he blends his performance with sustainable habits to drive these lasting transformations. And then he's married, and he's, like I said, living in Houston. He's trying to break it out and see what he can do, get better balance for himself as well.
There we go. And he's got loads of different letters after his name. If you go on his website, he's got MS, RD, CSSD, CSCS. So many things, which to me means you're qualified, right?
He's already won.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Well, he's got so much stuff, and I'm sure he'll come in and give us some great practical tips as well. So looking forward to this one, Mad Dog. Looking forward to this. You, as a chef, obviously very much looking forward to this.
If people are only listening and you're not watching, Ben has a pen in his hand. He's ready. I think Ben called Jacob back on this because he knew he's going into the private world of performance and coaching and leading, and Ben's getting a free consultancy out of this one.
Well, you two listeners can have that as well. So I encourage you, if you're listening, get your pen, get your paper, and you write down some of these notes. Because I tell you, when I listen to this live, obviously I realize how much more I come back to it. I'm like, wow, so lucky and grateful to have had a chance to have heard. I think it's over 60 guests that we've had on this podcast over the 5 seasons now. And, they are all experts in their own world and different things. So you're right. In lots of ways, it is kind of your own free consultation as well. So, hey, free 30 minutes, guys. This is from someone who, it's quite a lot of money to get this kind of information. So, yeah, let's make the most of it. Glean the wisdom, right? When we got the gold bar season 4, let's get back to Fort Knox by getting those gold bars. Take to your bank, the knowledge bank. Get him in
those books, dropping those recipe book cookbooks. Here we go.
You're onto something.
Hey.
Well, joking aside, let's get him in. Should we get him in this week?
Bring Jacob in.
All right, guys. It was so nice. We had to do it twice. Please welcome back to the podcast in season 5, Jacob Mertens. Jacob, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Nice.
Yeah.
Great to have you back on, Jacob. So good. Well, of course, listeners need to know what you've been doing since, obviously, last time we spoke. So for anyone who didn't hear the first episode, why don't you introduce yourself? Maybe give us an interesting fact about yourself and what you've been up to since the last time we spoke to you.
Yeah, Jacob Mertens here. So the last time I was on here, I was a dietitian and also part of the wellness staff with the Houston Texans. And since then, June of 25, actually, left the Texans, got out of team sports, and ventured out on my own. Definitely making part of that was a shift to be a little bit more family focused, to kind of be around the parents and nieces and nephews and those type of things. So now I'm kind of just taking a little bit of my background. I was a former college strength coach, so actually my undergrad and master's is in the exercise science field. And then when I was finishing up my GA, getting my master's, I decided to go back and be a dietitian. So now I'm trying to, in this private side, take those type of things and combine it to bring a little bit more of a all-in-one coaching to help out my clients.
I know last time we predicted that the Texans would win the Super Bowl. It was close, but there's always a chance. There's always this year, right? I mean, who knows?
I mean, it might be this year. They got a lot of the pieces together. Their defense, obviously, you can sit there and say between them and Seattle were top dogs in the NFL, and I think it only got better with some of the transactions that they made. And they got Montgomery there at the running back. They got some more linemen in to kind of help bolster a few things there. So kind of hard to go against them in the AFC right now. That they could potentially go out there and do some damage. Coaches have been there for a little bit, more continuity with it, and I mean I got faith. I think CJ is going to be able to come back and come back strong.
CJ Stroud, you heard it here first or second. Well, we heard it here again. Houston's going to win Super Bowl, people. Yeah. Super Bowl right here. We'll be celebrating with Jacob.
Absolutely.
We'll get you an honorary ring. You know those plastic ones you get from the little vending machines. So we'll get you.
I'll take anything. You kind of see a lot of those people I've worked with to have them go out there and have success. At that point, when you're working in sports, you don't really chase around teams anymore. Who you're rooting for? It's the people that or the coaches, athletes, staff that you've worked with. You know, they're all bouncing around. That's who you're rooting for these days, anyways.
Sounds like Ben in his fantasy soccer league.
That I gave up.
He gave up.
That I gave up for my family balance, like you talked about, family balance, and that was my sacrifice. I gave up fantasy football, but no, I appreciate that. I think there's interesting. You did that for the benefit of your family to thrive, to go out on your own, and I'm interested about that all-in-one coaching, and I'm sure we'll unpack that later. But yeah, that decision to thrive. Yeah, you want your family to thrive, and you've made that decision, and now you're doing this. So we're gonna unpack that, right, Mad Dog, as we go through the episode.
Well, since you're asking it, Ben, let's ask the question. I mean, like, what does thriving look like when it comes to all this nutrition, overall health, performance, and just general leadership? What does that look like when you're teaching it, when you're coaching it, when you're trying to help others?
Two things come to mind when you guys say that one. I think when it comes to thriving, that success, however you want to say that, that's going to be defined by you, and not necessarily what's going to be the standard norms in society. I think a lot of times people, when they think you're thriving, it's, especially let's say in the business part, you're making a ton of money and you're doing those type of things. But when it comes to me and you look at the priorities, what I want to have, it's, am I able to go through and fulfill that? Because I mean, there's days I know sometimes I put more effort into work than, let's say, my wife, and it's like, hey man, I didn't thrive that day, even though it might have been successful monetary wise on the business. And then from it, and that's the same thing going into nutrition, just defining your success. It should be, I think, those things a little bit more customized to you. Having the exercise background and having the nutrition background, I always try to say I think it's easier to get away with a generic program where you're going to get better results on an exercise standpoint than within your diet, having something that's just a copy and paste program. So fine-tuning what is right for you. And the last part, I think with anything, there has to just be consistency. I think that's the only way to continue to progress. I try to tell people, a lot of times clients, they can tend to be the all or none. They're 100% or they're not in it. And I always say, hey, even if you're 80% in, but you do that consistently over time, that's going to yield you much better results than seesawing back and forth of fully committed or you're off the program.
Consistency. Not the only one who's come in and said that. Another guest said that in a completely different world, was in kind of the music world, but you're talking about consistency here with nutrition. So yeah, really interested. I actually love that. Like, success is defined by you, and not comparing yourself to, whatever you see on TV, social media, or anyone else, but looking at you, and that personal and generic, program, I think would be so important. You spoke about that obviously in your last role of obviously making sure every individual athlete, got what they needed to thrive, obviously there, and you're looking at now saying, hey, look, there's opportunities to do that for every individual person as well. So really good. Even 80% of the time, Carl's thinking, great, you can do that Monday to Friday and then have the weekend off. That's what he's thinking. So Culver's on the weekend. Yeah, Carl spoke about some of those different things. But what about, we talk about some key nutritional principles for people to follow. There's a lot of stuff out there, like we said, about misinformation. I don't know what it's like in the US. Well, I've seen some of your commercials and it's horrendous what they advertise as healthy. But in the UK and I guess around the world, it's a very confusing place. So yeah, can you give us, our listeners, some advice on some core key nutritional principles?
Yeah, first of all, just from the mental approach to it, I always try to think about things that you can potentially add versus restrict. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I tell myself I'm not going to have something, I just absolutely crave it. And that's all I want to have. But the first one is if you can just eat as much unprocessed food as possible. So going back a little bit more to its natural state. And from that, I don't care. It could be, carbs or proteins or however you want to mix it up. But once you start making that switch, you're just going to get more nutrients in there and those components, and it just helps out greatly overall. The second one, I'm actually going to steal these from the Okinawans. I'm not sure. Have you guys heard of blue zones?
Green zone.
So blue zones, those are, it came by an author. He's the one that titled it, so it's a little bit more about a marketing thing, but essentially he found out areas around the world and how they live the longest. And Okinawans in Japan were one of those blue zones. And one of the things that they had was eat till you're 80% full. And so two of the main things I work with clients on, eating whole foods and then eating portions. I always just found one of the easiest ways for portion control is to kind of just be present with the meal, eat till you're about 80% full, and then a lot of times you're starting to weed out the portions. And I think that part just makes it a little bit hopefully simpler than sitting there trying to say, hey, my portions are, whey food or any of those type of components. And the last thing is I kind of just look at in general what's kind of going on in society. Obviously, you talk about people gaining weight, diabetes is on the rise. So an easy one for me is I just tell people what's called carb cycling. So essentially, it's the harder you work that day, the more you work, the intensity, the more you can have that day. And then if you can, eat more of those carbs around your activity. So if you, let's say, worked out first thing in the morning, and then it could be, okay, your breakfast is going to be your bigger carb meal of the day. Or if you're doing out later in the day, it could be, the meal before, the meal after. So I would say eat whole foods, watch your portions. I always try to say eat till you're about 80% full. And then if you can just kind of match your carbs around your training intensity.
All I heard was eat 80% of what's in the fridge.
Hey, that's easy. That is easy, man. It's when I sit there, sometimes I get distracted and you just start going, and I'm like, man, okay. After a certain while, I'm like, I did ate way too much.
Blue Zone, Kyle. Blue Zone.
We got
There's
that.
actually on Netflix. There is a great documentary that kind of goes over all the pieces. And I know what you guys are going out there and doing, but they end up talking about common things that each society had, because these are from all the different continents, and one of them had some sort of church believing in a higher being concept to that one. And so it's just kind of good to see that the people that are they're happy, laughing around, doing those type of things, and it's always a lot of them at the end of the day it's surrendering to some sort of God.
And I think that's the important thing too. It's like we sometimes bring in our faith into these kind of things, whether it's exercise or eating, and we kind of shame ourselves or we guilt ourselves, whereas we know that through our relationship with Jesus and God, that we have these sort of forgiveness and just, sort of grace, as it were. So as Ben's trying to set up his own sort of consulting, coaching, aspect, that's why he's busy taking notes. He wanted you on because you're a great guest, but he's also, you don't realize this, he's getting professional counseling from you, consulting for free. So he's disguised it as a podcast. So you can send him his bill later.
I was saying, I have your email, send it in voice once we get done here. Just letting you know I'm not cheap. So
yeah. There you go. So what are the Ben wanted to know, and I think that's a good one too for our listeners, is what are there's healthy eating, right? People, so there's quote unquote healthy eating. There's some misconceptions around that hold people back. What are some of the things that so-called healthy eating can cause problems with, or just be misleading?
Oh, it's just marketing
Yeah.
in general. When you go back and you look at it, a lot of these terms of, let's say, even clean eating, there's not necessarily a definition to it. I think so. So a lot of people that have their own interpretation of what that truly means. Everybody is different. So, I mean, different people have various stuff. So, even example for me, like I have a thyroid autoimmune disease. So, some things that work well with me and not are going to be different for the both of you. Some people might be battling something else, or they're completely healthy. So, or I guess say healthy, let's say free of disease from that component. So. I mean, what a marathoner versus a type 2 diabetic and how they eat carbohydrates, there's some stuff that's going to be healthy for them. Obviously, they're consuming sugars and things like that to support their training and competition, while, you know, at the same point, that's not going to be appropriate for the next person. So that's what I kind of talked about earlier, of just kind of figuring out truly what works for you. And there's components of that where I try to implement something with one client, and even though it might be something that is considered a clean food, let's just say something like a banana, and you know, sometimes just it causes lethargic or brain fog for some people. This was done, man, it's been years, over 5 years easy. There was a study done in Israel where they just looked at blood sugar response from a cookie and a banana, and I think both you and the audience can sit there and tell me which one's the cleaner food.
Banana.
The banana. Yeah, but when they found the blood sugar response, it was varied by everybody. And so some people with banana spiked the blood sugar, and the cookie actually dropped it, and then the inverse. So that's where it kind of comes in. Each person just reacts differently to what's kind of going on.
There's music to Carl's ears. He's thinking cookies over bananas. Here we
Yeah,
go.
cookies. It's you with the ice cream fix. Every time you see Ben, he's got ice cream or some sort of sweet something.
I'm terrible with that. That's my go-to, the custard and whatever else. You guys have ice blasts and all these names for it. It's terrible. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that spikes blood sugar more than a banana. But your point, Jacob, is really good. You know, like, yeah, everyone's different. It's a unique approach, and that's why you do that stuff. And everyone's body's different. We're all made unique in the image of God, different, right? And so no one's the same. And like you said there, you know, with your thyroid, I bet you've definitely had to do that. I know people in my family who've had that, and over an overactive or underactive thyroid. And it's like, some people are like, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. And there's a lot of different things out there, which, yeah, everyone's body is different. And it's so important not to just give blanket advice and stuff, and to give that specialist, like, personal advice, which is what you're offering. So really good. Well, today, I know what we've just said about everyone's different, but if anyone could make some small changes today, you know, is it breakfast every day? Is it drink more water? Or, you know, what can someone do? What habits are there which can really help people's well-being? Good, healthy habits.
I would say, I mean, I know it's, I think, one of the trends of 25, 26, but I would just say making sure that you're getting enough protein in there. I think, something that's been under-recommended, and a lot of the new research has even shown that even double of what the American recommendation should be. So even if you want a good takeaway, I always tell people like 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. So I think that's a good one. Even as you age, the way that your body just digests and helping out with maintaining muscle mass, that part goes down. So actually, as you continue to get older and older, which unfortunately we all do, at some point, that means the amount of protein you need definitely goes up. Another one for me is fiber. There's more stuff, I think, that we're finding out when it comes to the gut and digestion, of how that impacts not just nutrition, but even stuff, let's say, from the mental component. So we're even finding different gut bacteria and things like that, and how that can help with different cognitive to depression, various things like that, and fiber can have a definite impact. And then the last one that people don't realize is a big nutrition thing: sleep. I mean, where I think a lot of people are, at least maybe me working in sports, you get a little bit more of a grind mentality, and you're like, you know what, hey, I'll sleep when I die. But or even finding the way that people metabolize food the next day, or even the food cravings of what they go for the next day actually are worse when you start talking about being sleep deprived. So you're a lot easier to go for the donut, the cookie, the sugared beverage, and then the way that your body can metabolize that is worse, and you can actually store that on as more body fat in there as well. So as much as I can sit there and tell you how much I love exercise and nutrition, I actually would probably put sleep on top of all that, because it just helps more of a foundation for all of those.
Wow. Yeah, that's big. That's big, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep. Tell your kids they need sleep, you know?
That's it. I'm writing that. I tried an exclamation mark, put that there. Yeah. Wow, you'd put that at the top. That's like. Yeah.
I would sit there and say there's just a lot of, the more things kind of come out, having a good night of sleep helps. I mean, it's one of those things that gets tied into. You can see a benefit that bleeds over into everything. I think that's also why nutrition gets labeled as a foundation of what you do and how you eat can bleed over into just a ton of different things. So even if let's talk about an afternoon crash that happens because of potentially what you're eating too. And one of the things now, like the company that I started, I call it Empower Performance, and the performance side of it is it bleeds over into a lot of different things. So the way that you eat can affect your energy. And so the next thing you know, you have more to give to the people that you care about, let's say in this podcast, or you have more energy to play with your kids, or next thing you know, the inflammation in your body isn't quite as much there, so your joints feel better and you can go play more golf, or name the thing that you love doing. All that stuff can bleed into in little areas of life. And I think that the way that I think about it, working in sports, like those are things that you perform at in your day-to-day life. And I think all of us are striving to perform better at something.
Yeah. And I think that was, just the sleep aspect of it. I mean, I lived in Nigeria for 16 years, and it was 12 hours of darkness, 12 hours of light. So that balance automatically kind of regulates your own body and your rhythms and sleeping. I know I felt a lot better there coming back here, where it's 9 p.m. it starts to get dark, and then it's light at 5 a.m. So because of the spring and stuff. So it's just crazy how sleep does affect everything, and as you said, it probably affects your eating habits as well. You want to eat more or stay alert to feel like you have to do that. So for those of us living these busy lives, what are some practical, even healthy food choices, snack options, or even getting enough sleep? What kind of recommendations could you give some of us busy people? I mean, give Ben specifically.
Yeah, I think so. The common thing I've seen with a lot of my clients, they're successful in their own right within business or athletes. They got a lot going on, but it's just figuring out ways to take decisions out of your day-to-day life. So it's essentially coming up with what I call anchor meals. So it's stuff you have on hand. You don't even have to think. You can just execute in there. So even if it's breakfast and it's, hey, I always just, I make oatmeal and I make scrambled eggs. Or one of the things for us, like quick and easy meals, is I can buy rotisserie chicken, and you can go get, some sort of frozen bag, even if it's slightly seasoned up veggies, and like next thing you know, you have a meal that, if you go to the grocery store a few times a week, you have that stuff. You could potentially just have it on hand. So there's an easy way for you to incorporate some of that stuff within your day-to-day life. And then you kind of know it when you get busy, things can sometimes get a little frantic or fast moving. And so when you get a couple of those things in place, you don't even have to think. That stuff's already there. And a lot of them too, even for me, incorporating like a little protein shake or something in there from those realms as some sort of healthy snack, to always kind of have those things on hand. And I use the protein shake as an example of incorporating something like that within a snack, because those tend to be more carb, fat heavy, but protein can actually help you feel a little bit more hungry for a longer time too.
Nice, love it. So, well, we've heard lots of great advice. Sleep, more, thrive. I'm here for it. Cookies or bananas. Loads of other things you said there about more protein, fiber, different things, portion control. Loads of great advice, Jacob. So good. And I'm sure people could contact you. On the bottom, we've got your website, and you've got your Instagram as well. MPWR_performance. People want to follow you on there as well and get in touch with Jacob for that personalized plan and personalized approach. But last question, obviously we're looking at advice. You've given us so much advice. I wonder maybe even from like maybe of a bit more of a spiritual component, maybe take it how you want. But what advice have you got for individuals to help them thrive in life and leadership in any way?
Maybe I might be saying this because it's the thing that is at heart for me, but it's just simplify things. That's part of it. Me leaving the Texans, we're going to be transitioning, so moving closer to family. And I know it's one of those things that my wife and I, when we talk about the future and kind of the expectation of what we want to have, it's how can we just simplify various things? Because I think it just makes it a lot more. It makes it a lot easier and less intimidating to approach things and go in there from that one. And part of the simplifying of what I've done now, it also helps you look at the priorities along there within your life. And kind of like you were alluding to the musician earlier, the same thing. You talk about consistency, and the more complex things get, the harder it is to be consistent. And so that's why, for me, it's dwindling things down into a little bit of a basic and coming into like, hey, what are the foundation of what I need? It's relationship with God, my wife, some little bit of physical activity. There's just couple little things that turn into be a foundation, and what are a couple simple wins for me day to day on those components.
Simple wins, Mad Dog. We've already won, but we need these simple wins, right?
We do.
No, really good. Well, just for those who are audio listeners, Jacob, tell us your website, because some maybe driving, exercising, walking the dog. What is your website, just so you can just verbally say it?
Yeah, so it's the name of the company. So it's Empower Performance. If I spell it MPWR performance.co. So that's CO. And then social, it's the MPWR_performance on Instagram.
There you go. Make sure if you're driving, you don't look at your phone now. Stop the podcast and go and look it up. Right, Mad Dog?
Do a screenshot. Look at it later, people. Well, great. Thanks, Jacob, again for joining us. We appreciate it.
It's been an honor again to be on here a second time. So must have went well the first one. So when you're back, it's pretty amazing. It's always great to hear you guys, the mission of what you have going on. Obviously, sports is a thing that's dear in my heart. So the way that you're able to take that and help introduce God, Jesus, to people around the world, it's a special thing that hopefully more and more people and the impact of your work. It's been amazing to see.
I appreciate that, and we honor you. And I pray the Lord will honor your decision to help your family thrive as well. Mm-hmm. We do pray that your business will thrive as well. And I know what it's like. I work in a professional sport environment now, and the grind is like relentless. We've just finished the season, and it's like you're just breathing for air now, and you're recovering. My body's hurting, got back issues, all this kind of stuff. I know from carrying stress and things, because it's just relentless. It's the grind, and so well done for kind of taking that step out and for launching this as well. And guys, do follow him, give him a follow. It costs nothing to follow. And obviously, if you're in the US or beyond and want this specialist advice from someone who's worked in some really great places with some really advanced and elite people as well, do personally get in touch with Jacob as well. So Jacob, thank you so much. It was great. Second time, like Cal says, 2 full pages, invoices going to be in the post shortly. But thanks for sharing that. You've already won, but thanks for sharing those small wins as well. Really appreciate it.
There we go. All I got, Ben, 80%. So if 80% of the listeners, if people listen to 80% of our podcast, we're successful. Just going to say it right there.
80%. That's it. Not 80% of the fridge, 80% of your plate.
What?
That's what it said. So it was some really good stuff. I thought you were going to say, the cookie or the banana. Have a cookie instead of a banana. I thought you may have had that. So
both. 80% of both.
There you go. Joking aside, though, hey, we've already won, but some great small wins in there. Some really good stuff. I think so many things come down to everyday decisions, right? What you're going to eat, and what you're going to drink, and things like that. How you're going to prepare in advance. I like those things about, you said, anchor meals. Like things that are in place already. So when things get busy, and simplifying it. What a word that is. Simplify. Just simplify. So good, right? About how to simplify life and simplify nutrition as well. So really good stuff. I think for me, the other thing that really hit me was when you simplify your life, it's about like prioritizing your life. And he's obviously made that decision to, to go and do his own business because his priorities are his family over the grind of different things as well, right? So yeah, you prioritize what's important. Your health is your wealth, people say, and it's easy to let that slip down your like priorities, right? As things get busy and stuff. So yeah,
well, that's it. I mean, it's what he said, consistency, right? You're again 80%. Even if you're 80% into something, you're doing it. Like if it's exercising, if it's getting up, getting enough rest, get 80% in. Commit to that. I think that's the first step. And once you start to see results, you'll feel better. You'll just have a better outlook on life as well.
For sure. No, so good. And he was interested how he linked, sleep is a really high priority and stuff.
Yeah.
And he talked about, all those practical things. I tell you what, that was packed with stuff. But we're not experts. We're certainly not. Jacob is. And if you want more of that expert advice, I think definitely contact him directly to get that kind of stuff right. And he can give you that personalized plan as well for different things as well. So yeah, please do follow him and things, right, Mad Dog? But yeah, really good. We talk about in our level 2 training, right, that holistic side of things, right? Making sure we develop players, technically, but also physically. And one of the ways that we do that is through the food that they eat, how they can develop physically as well, right? Of course, obviously mentally, socially, and spiritually as well. But that nutrition, it really, kind of indicates that holistic thing, right? And yeah, I think that was good for him to talk about that, right, as well.
Healthy shepherds lead healthy flocks. I'm just going to say it. Healthy shepherds lead healthy flocks. but that is something I've always taught whenever I was in Nigeria or wherever I was doing a training. Look, you can have all the spiritual training, you can have the theological training, you can be that expert in all the theology. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not getting enough rest. If you're sick and you're getting yourself more and more sick, you can't do God's work. So I'd rather have a healthy and theologically trained pastor than just a super duper theologically trained pastor or leader. So be balanced, people. Healthy shepherds lead healthy flocks.
I'd much rather have that balance. I'm in complete agreement with you, Mad Dog. Yeah, with that for sure. Yeah, really good. Well, guys, if you want that all-in-one coaching, you know where to go to, Jacob Mertens. And if you want to continue to listen to some great advice from exercise professionals, from people in the sporting world, what do they got to do, Mad Dog?
You got to buy a new already won cookbook. Wait, we don't have it out yet. It's coming. It's coming.
Who's making that? AI's making that?
Hey, no. You and I got some good recipes, man. I got some shakes. You got some shakes.
I'll tell you what. You've got the recipes because you were a chef. I can come up with the names.
Yeah.
I can come up with the names of the meals. Yeah. I'll come up with the quotes.
You come up like one page will be the recipe, the other page will be like a life quote, life hack. There we go.
Yeah, perfect combination. Already one cookbook coming 2026.
There we go, people. We got it down. If you subscribe today, we'll send you a free cookbook. It doesn't exist, but we'll send it to you. There you go.
There you go. Anyone listening will know if you listen because you asked me for that.
All right. Tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your parents even. They got cookbooks. They need a new cookbook. Tell them they need an already one cookbook. And just tell everyone. We're thriving.
Already won. Our mission is to help you thrive. Every Tuesday, join our hosts and guests. Discover how you're all